Call this meeting of the Schertz-Cibolo Universal City Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called, and the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, and the time is now 6 p.m. Ms. Edstrom, if we could have the roll call, please.
All board members are present except Mr. Wilson.
And just for the record, Mr. Wilson did inform me that he would be running a little bit late due to work obligations, but he will be here shortly. At this time, could I ask that everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to you, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank everyone for being here tonight, and certainly appreciate you attending our board meetings. Just as a quick introduction, gentleman here to my left, your right, is Dr. Gibson, our superintendent. He's essentially the CEO of the district. The other main folks up here are your trustees. We're all volunteers, members of the community. We have kids that go to school or graduated from our schools here. Some of us have worked in the district over the years, but we're here to serve you, and if at any time you guys have any questions or comments about anything that we do as a school district, you can certainly find our email address on the website, or feel free to call us. Dr. Pivotal likes, Dr. Pivotal, you voted you? Mr. Pivotal likes to be approached at HEB at random times. You happen to see him in the grocery store. But do appreciate everyone being here tonight. The folks down here in the front, these are our upper level administrators, and again, if you happen to have an issue on a particular campus or a particular concern, the particular department or so, they would be more than happy to help you out. We have a good staff and a good district, and I want to welcome each and every one of you here tonight. At this time, as we do with all of our board meetings, we'll have the Vice President's recitation of the district's mission, vision, values, and priorities.
Our vision is to prepare every student to be a productive citizen. Our values are leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning. Our mission statement, Schertz-Cibolo Universal City Independent School District provides a safe, secure, and challenging learning environment through the responsible use of all resources to afford opportunities for all students to realize their individual potential and to become responsible and productive members of society. Our priorities: priority number 1, high achievement for all students. Priority number 2, high performing and engaged workforce. Priority number 3, effective and efficient district and campus operations.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. At this time, we'll also have the board recitation of the district's belief statements. Mr. Gripp.
We believe all students have the capacity to learn and be successful. We believe a safe, secure environment is paramount to learning.
We believe living our core values of leadership, character, commitment, service, and learning result in the ability to set and achieve lifelong goals. We believe quality instruction addresses the individual needs of students.
We believe engaging, interactive, and authentic teaching creates empowered, active learners prepared for our changing world. We believe embracing technology as a relevant tool enhances learning in and beyond the classroom.
We believe in a professional learning community culture that allows time to collaborate and share best practices in order to improve continually. We believe good communication is critical to success.
We believe lifelong learning enriches staff through professional development. We believe measures of our success go beyond standardized testing, and we believe public education is defined by the local community with limited state involvement.
Thank you, trustees. At this time, it's usually our favorite portion of the meetings to recognize the success and achievements of our students. So we'll begin that with the recognition of our student representatives for the month of March 2017. Dr. King.
Thank you, President Inman, trustees and guests, students and guests. Since 1987, SCUC has followed this monthly process of recognizing a high school student or two at each board meeting. So now we have Haley Miller, a 12th grader at Penance High School, and Samaya Tola, a 12th grader at Steele High School. And it looks like, Haley, you're up first. I'm going to let your administrator introduce you. Welcome. And we're going to give you both a round of applause before you ever even start.
to introduce to you a representative tonight from the PALS Club or organization, which is really our practicum for teaching. And her name is Haley Miller, and she's here tonight with her sponsor, Ms. Weatherholt, and her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Miller. If you'll stand to be recognized. Haley is an amazing student at Clemens, and if you've been to any function at Clemens, you've probably seen her. She's one of the hardest working students that we have. You will see her everywhere. She has been in varsity track for 4 years. She has an office that she holds in CDN, and so she videotapes and records and does some really high-end idea making for our creative media. But she's representing PALS tonight, where she goes out each day and serves our community and serves as a peer, an assistant, and a leader in our feeder schools. And she goes one day to Schertz, and one day to Rose Garden, and one day to Watts, and one day to Wilder. So everybody gets a little bit of Haley. And we all want a little bit of Haley. She's already been accepted to UNT, and it is my pleasure to introduce her to you tonight. Ms. Haley Miller.
Dr. Gibson, President Inman, and members of the board. My name is Haley Miller, and I am a second-year member of Practicum of Human Services, or PALS program. PALS is a program in which students at the high school level have the opportunity to mentor children in the elementary and intermediate levels in our district. Members of the program are assigned to students that may be challenged academically or socially. As a PAL, my role and purpose is to serve as a positive role model, not only to the children I am assigned to, but the children across the community. PALs develop patience, compassion, and a bond with the children we work with. We reserve the privilege of bringing joy and optimism into the lives of kids who may be experiencing personal struggles. By establishing relationships of trust and confidentiality with the children, they know that they have a friend who cares about them and is concerned about whatever they may be going through. From my own experience, I can tell you that the PALS program is truly a gift, not only to the children who receive PALS, but also to us as PALs. We have the opportunity to see the impact of the lives of our PALs throughout the course of the school year. When I reflect on the progress of my kids throughout the year and realize how far they've come, it is the most rewarding feeling. I love to see the excitement of my kids expressed when I walk into the classroom. Nothing beats hearing the words, "I was waiting for you," on what may have been a rough morning. To me, my kids are motivation, their confidence, and they're an inspiration in my life. While they may be unaware of it, my little PALs play a huge role in my life and my future. I plan to study media and digital arts in the years to come, and the kids keep my imagination and creativity alive as they make an adventure out of things as simple as Play-Doh or blocks. I, of course, have the honor of serving as their right-hand man in what could be an important mission to outer space or just a busy day in the restaurant. Over the past 2 years, I have learned so much from my PALs and Mrs. Weatherholt, my PALs instructor. Through this program, I have learned leadership and how to work with others in a way that best suits them. I will carry these lessons with me in the future as they shape the course of my life. I have enjoyed every lesson, every moment with my kids, as well as every moment in this unique and amazing program. Thank you for this life-changing opportunity that is PALS, and thank you for giving me the honor of sharing with you my appreciation for this program.
outstanding young lady. Samaya is currently a senior at Byron Beachville High School and is the daughter of Julima and Julio Kawala. I would like to recognize them. They are here today. Samaya has been in our district for 5 years, and she is representing the student organizations Ready, Set, Teach, and CAFE. And I would like to recognize her sponsor and teacher, Ms. Beth Mahoney. Samaya has been an active participant in school activities, including FCCLA and CAFE. She has also been a part of her Ready, Set, Teach program for 2 years. Samaya demonstrates great educating skills through her support and guidance of the younger students she has the opportunity to student teach and Ready, Set, Teach, while assisting them through their mandatory math, English, and social studies and science curriculum. Samaya joined Phil's FCCLA chapter her sophomore year and has been a vital member since. Her first year she ran for an official region position and thrived to the top as she was granted vice president of projects. Her junior and senior year, she decided to resign as an official VP and focus on CAFE, where she is competing and where she competed in job interviews. Samaya has been accepted to William Patterson University in New Jersey and Texas A&M University in Commerce, Texas, and she has chosen to go all the way to New Jersey in the cold and go to William Patterson University, where she hopes to get her bachelor's in communication and education. So I would like to introduce Ms. Samaya.
Good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Emmett, and members of the board. My name is Samantha Walla, and I'm a senior at Steele High School and a second-year Ready, Set, Teach member. I signed up for Ready, Set, Teach to see if I wanted to work with kids in the future, and through my delighted experience, I realized that it is something I was going to do in the near future. So I finally was able to realize what my calling in life was, and that was to become an educator. This year in Ready, Set, Teach, we have done beyond the criteria of just shadowing teachers and mentoring students. We have the opportunity to pair up with K-4 teachers at our local elementary schools, and it has been a very fun learning experience that has taught me many things about our fellow tiny humans and has furthered my appreciation for teachers themselves. In the process of being an experience, it has soon turned into a dream of mine. As student teachers, we are able to create our own lessons and construct our own ideas for our future learners and classrooms. We also have participated in many opportunities to help our program grow, whether that be group bonding experiences or raising money from a fundraiser towards our compelling tapping program. Ready, Set, Teach has also paired up with our school student council to uphold SPUG Week, known as Students Performing Unselfish Deeds, in which we challenge students to be unselfish and think about others while raising money for our chosen cause. I am also a member of the Texas Association of Future Educators, known as TAFE. This year we were granted to pair up with our school's FCCLA program and partner our high school's Fall Festival. We were able to accept Thanksgiving donations and set up booths for the other giving clubs and programs at Steele High School. This year I was also available to compete in TAFE, along with more of my Ready, Set, Teach classmates. I competed in job interview and free speech, and though I did not make it far, I was still granted more knowledge and experience of what it was like to be in the most important field of work, and that is education. 9 of my very talented classmates did make it to the TAFE state competition, where I was given the opportunity to attend for the experience and student judge portfolio competition segment. This upcoming fall, I will be attending William Patterson University in New Jersey to major in communications and education, and then later on I will obtain my teacher certification in the state of New Jersey, where I will hopefully become an elementary teacher.
Together. And if you want to bring your parents up, also, well, parents, I'm going to take a picture first, and then we'll get a picture of your also, and your sponsors, and your principal. Anyone else? Parents, do y'all want to come get him one? Come on, get him.
Come on, Mr. Mayor.
Come on. saying offer to Haley and Maya, we cannot give you the job, but we can give you the interview. So if you're going to get certified in New Jersey, you're going to have to be certified in Texas. But if you get certified in Texas also, and Haley, if you decide to make that your career, we'll get you to the interviews just based on your performance tonight.
I already told them they would come back.
Yep.
Congratulations again. This time I have recognition of student achievements. Ms. Chen.
Good evening, President and Dr. Gibson and members of our board. Tonight we're here to recognize SCUC students who have achieved outstanding academic and athletic distinction. We applaud their commitment and dedication to performance areas and bring excellence to our district. Parents, students, and friends, thank you for joining us this evening and for this chance to recognize the excellence from our students. And students, congratulations on your accomplishments and best of luck in your bright future. So to start us off, we're going to do some work recognizing students from CTE. The Technology Student Association, or TSA, is the student leadership organization for technology and engineering education, giving students the opportunity to compete and excel in leadership and problem-solving skills. Also time management, communication, and teamwork. These students will be competing in the state competition April 6th through 8th in Waco. All representing Clemens High School, Esteban Alvarez. You can all start coming on up. Christian Bradley, Edgar Cabrera, Dylan Davis, Logan Drake, Desiree Garcia, Max Linnell, Demetrios Bailey Mosley, Joel Nicholson, Alexander Ramos, Jacob Richardson, Edgar Pagan Delgado, Denelisa Perez, Thomas Peters, Jordan Sherrill, and Lauren Taylor. Let's give all these students a round of applause. And parents of these students, if you're here, please stand so we can recognize you. Pretend like you like each other.
Shouldn't you do it like that?
Okay, let me get out of the way. Excuse me.
We have 3 more students that we want to recognize from Steele High School for DECA. We recognized them last month for going to nationals, and now they have advanced to the international competition. So these are 3 qualifiers from Steele High School: Jacob Frenson, Kevon Khan, and Hannah Valentine. And if their parents or family members are here, please stand so we can recognize you. And then go back to the middle for your picture.
Next, we have some athletic recognitions. The Texas Girls Coaches Association, or TCGA, actually it is TGCA, is the largest association for coaches of girls athletics in the United States. The All-Star Games, held July 12th in Austin, will include 152 of the most outstanding incoming senior athletes in Texas. Representing Clemens High School will be Mackenzie Miller, who's an all-star, one of 12 juniors selected to the 5A, 6A red team, and Lauren Teskey, an alternate. These are the recognitions. And Karen, if you're here, please stand. Volleyball for the class of 2020. Representing Clemens is Shelby O'Neill. And she has some fans out here, parents, family members. Wrestlers in the house this evening. The Wrestling State Tournament was held in Houston, February 23rd through the 25th. And these students qualified for and participated in the state tournament. From Clemens High School, Reagan Aldersey, Raymond Brown, J.C. Dogan Patel, and Zachary Jackson.
Good job, sir. Good job.
Families up here already taking pictures of that. Then we have some knights who represented us at the state wrestling tournament. They are Alexander Saylor, Shalaya Harris, Layla Gonzalez, and Camille Beagle. Thank you. Congratulations. And if they have their parents or family members are here, please stand so we can recognize you. And finally, we have another wrestling recognition. The Texas High School Coaches Association, or THSCA, recognized these students, these wrestlers who excelled in GPA, class rank, and ACT/SAT scores. They are receiving the academic All-State. From Clemens High School, Reagan Aldersey, Thomas Aldersey, Hannah Blake, Patrick Connolly, Jared Haynes, Zachary Jackson, and Nicholas Slaughter. And parents, family members, please stand so we can recognize you.
Slide on down. Turn left and walk.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This concludes our recognition portion.
Thank you, Ms. Jane. Thank you, students, as well. At this time, the Board of Trustees will now hear public comments. I've got two individuals that have signed up to speak, and I'm going to go ahead and just read some of the rules for tonight. In order to provide consistency and fairness to all individuals, public comments will be heard in accordance with Board Policy BED Local and procedures outlined in Administrative Regulation BED. Comments should be limited to topics such as policies, curriculum, and facilities. Any direct criticism of a specific employee will not be heard during public comments and should be considered separately as provided in board policy. In this context, individuals are cautioned to not identify any employee by name or by any combination of words or descriptions which can identify the employee to another individual. Public comments will be limited to individuals who signed up to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting before the board meeting was called to order. No public comment shall exceed 5 minutes. To ensure compliance with the time limitations, Mr. Puberto here will hold up a yellow card at the 4-minute mark, and a red card will be held up at 5 minutes. If you have an issue that you would like to discuss with an administrative staff member, please complete the designated form located on the table at the back of the room and place it in the wooden box. Your concern and contact information will be forwarded to the appropriate staff member. Again, I had two individuals who had signed up to speak. The first would be Colby Pulliam. Brian, you're more than welcome to join her if you'd like to. We wouldn't pass on the chance. We'll just have one person speak, though, okay?
Yeah. Good evening. I'm Colby Pulliam. With me is Brian Poston and Danny Fusler, and we are here representing the 2017 Leadership Corps class with the Chamber. So we just want to say thank you for having us. We had got the great chance to meet with Dr. Gibson in February, and we just want to say thank you for having us.
Great.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Ms. Laura Torres.
Good evening to the board and to Dr. Gibson. My name is Laura Torres, and I'm with CASA of Central Texas. We serve neglected and abused children in 4 counties, including here in Guadalupe. And so the way we do that is our volunteers are sworn in by a judge, and because they're sworn in, they can talk with teachers, parents, doctors, anyone in the lives of these children. They gather that information and through support of a CASA staff member, report it back to the judge, and that's what the judge uses when he or she makes a decision about this child's long-term situation of care. You are not a foster parent, and the children will never come to your home, but you are a consistent presence in the lives of these kids where there are so many inconsistencies. I'm really happy to be speaking to you all tonight because we just swore in our largest class of volunteers, 25, and as Guadalupe County residents, unfortunately none of them were from Guadalupe County, and last year we did not swear in any Guadalupe County volunteers. The reason why it's so important for you to know that there's a CASA program here in Guadalupe County is because there is also a CASA program in Bexar County. But in our program, we are saving the county money with our volunteer work. And so anyone can become a CASA. I definitely encourage you all to share our message with as many people as or Cibolo that you know, a lot of times what these kids really need is someone that they can talk with. That's honestly what so many of these kids get out of having a CASA. This Thursday, we are having a info session, a longer info session at the GDEC community room here in Shirts. And then we are also having our fundraiser on April 7th. And so I definitely encourage you to like our Facebook page, because all of these events are on there. And if you share and like things on our page, I can't tell you how many times that has helped us get more CASAs. Sometimes that's the last nudge that they need. We're also working in April to have a class here in Shirts and Cibolo, and we've modified the training so it's 1 week shorter and there's an online component. So I really encourage you all, and I know that you all would make amazing CASAs, or you might know someone that can do that. So thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Laura. I'll tell you what, this isn't an agenda item, so we're not really supposed to engage with you, but I know one more trustees had something to say. I do want to use the acronym CASA. Would you mind sharing with everyone what that stands for?
Yes, CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kirk?
I know we can't engage, but if I could just make a comment. If you could leave on the back the dates of those or cards with information that would work. If I could just make a generic comment. I know y'all work closely with the crime victims liaisons from City and Shirts, and I will just say and vouch that this is just a wonderful, wonderful organization for the whole region. I'm very familiar with it. I think you brought out too.
Thank you.
Second.
Well, and Mr. Mayor, I don't know if we've gone through the process of officially naming you guys district collaborators, but we need to do that.
Yeah.
And we can do that tomorrow, and then we'll send that information out off of our website, because you guys help us immensely. And it's all about making sure our children get every single chance that they
Yes,
deserve.
thank you so much.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Thank you.
That now concludes public comments. Next item is correspondence. Do we have any correspondence to discuss? June board member? Mr. Britt?
Either correspondence or
Those will be the next item.
Okay.
Let's, other correspondence, the next item is report on board advocacy. This is an opportunity for board members individually. We just normally go down the road here and share with each other things that we may have participated in or been aware of over the past month that would help each trustee as well as the other folks here in attendance tonight. So we'll go ahead and do that at this time. Mr. Britt?
Yeah, I actually have something this month. I have a couple I'd like to bring up. I had the opportunity to go to Jordan Intermediate School, and if I say it wrong, you can correct me, but they have a community project fair. It's sort of like a science fair, but instead of doing science projects, they do community projects fair with the hopes of having their project funded so they can actually implement it. And I actually got to go around, and you get to vote on what you like. And I will tell you this, if you haven't been and seen the enthusiasm of these kids who are trying to do projects for other people, it's not like they're winning anything for themselves or awards. They're trying to get funded so they can actually have their project done. It is just truly amazing. Everything from helping the homeless people to the children's shelter to the animal shelters to, just a whole gamut of different social service projects. And I had the opportunity, so I'd like to say to Ms. Curtis, congratulations to you and your entire staff, if you could relay that. It is truly just a wonderful, wonderful thing to witness, and I hope everybody all the kids are happy. And I'm curious to see which one's won, but I'll talk to you later.
Actually, we find out Thursday evening if you want to come.
Oh, the Thursday evening?
6:30, yes.
What time?
Between 4:30 and 6:30.
Okay.
I can find out specifically when the big announcement's going to be made, but
Okay.
it's this Thursday evening.
Okay, yeah, it's just wonderful. These kids are so enthusiastic about the projects. Also had the opportunity to go to watch to the talent show, and once again, it was just amazing. I give Ms. Mills and her staff, just wonderful credit for what they did. I get embarrassed sometimes or nervous just talking up here, and these kids were in front of parents, audiences, and just every talent you can think of, from dancing to singing to whatever. It was just really nice to watch these children engage in that. Also, last night I had the opportunity to go to the Masonic Lodge, where 4 of our people from the SUIC were awarded what's called the Lamar Award of Excellence. And we had, Leia Sanchez from Steele High School. We had Joey Trevino from Steele High School, from Clemens High School, both students win the award. And then we also had Alfred Villarreal and Mario, I'm going to mispronounce this, Tucado from Clemens, as teachers that both won the award from the Masonic Lodge. So that was really interesting to be a part of. And then the final thing is I will be going up to the legislative session, it looks like in probably a week, to testify at the Human Services Committee and the Judiciary and Civil Judiciary Committees. I had drafted 2 bills and apparently they're going through and it looks like they're going to pass about the way that Child Protective Services and school districts interact in notification processes. And this is a direct result of the Sarah Brassey case from a few years back. And based on that, I presented it to some congressmen and they agreed to present it, and it's going through and it looks like it's going to pass with flying colors. And it has to do with notification process now for school districts on how they notify CPS and responses, and basically mandatory responses. If any type of professional calls, there's no, we'll look into it on Monday. It's a mandatory response, and there's a few other things that it can never be canceled out if a professional person calls it from a school or from a police department. So they've asked me to come testify for locals committee, so I'll be going there for that. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Mr. Kerr. Mr. Westbrook?
Good evening. I had an opportunity to visit Allison Steele. Mr. Hunt, and Mr. Honey has a very elaborate setup and sort of pyramids. I think it really involves the students a lot. They were super engaged. Mrs. Wallace, and I didn't know if she was coaching the Our Lady of the Lake for an NAIA tournament. I don't know how it wound up. I don't know how she wound up, her team wound up doing. I think she was coaching, so I'd like to find that out. And then the garden improvements are coming along real well over there at the Allison Steele. Also had the opportunity to visit Green Valley. Mrs. Mills was great. I learned about the GT advances over at the school. They were making some GT program advances. The Paw Patrol over there in the back, the Paw Patrol. And then we talked about the lighthouse status, and I guess about a week later, I guess they were eventually awarded the lighthouse status, which is it the first one in the district?
I believe so, it's a pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal. She was super excited about it, so I'm happy that she won. And then Mrs. Pinchorn, she wound up going to Eisenhower Middle School. We went to middle school at Eisenhower Middle School a long time ago. So small world, but thank you very much.
Patel?
Yes, I can't, equate to Mr. Carew down there. I'm not talking to big shot people like he is. Anyway, I do my watchdog thing on Tuesday at Green Valley Elementary School, and Mr. Westbrook stole some of my thunder on the Green Valley Elementary School Lighthouse. I want to congratulate them for I know it's a lot of hard work and a lot of the effort that they put through to get that, and it is a great honor for them to be at Lighthouse School. My granddaughter just happens to be one of the Lighthouse leaders, so that's why I wanted to mention it. But also, and I think we mentioned this last month, but we attended, several of us attended a brunch at Marion Dawson Learning Center for the 18 Plus program. And again, I just want to say what a great program that is for these students. And if you have an opportunity to go visit and check that program out, it is a wonderful program in our district. I'm so happy our district has it. Also participated in the curriculum audit interview. Not sure what that was all about. They asked me questions, I answered them.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I did the best I could. I haven't been in school business in a long time, so curriculum was way over my head. It was way over my head when I was in the school business, so that's okay. But also attended the Education Foundation meeting. I am on the board with the Education Foundation. I do want to remind everyone, we do have our fundraiser golf tournament this Friday at Olympia Hills Golf Course, and we will have a registration at 11:30, and they have lunch from noon to 1, and TL shot going to start at 1 o'clock. So the weather permitting, hopefully it'll be good weather, and I hope to see a lot of folks out here. It's a great cause, and certainly a fun time. So that's it for me. Thank you.
was glad to hear that Mr. Pimentel was as confused about that audit as I was, because I participated, and I'm not sure that I added a whole lot of value, but I participated all the same. Also, excited to get the opportunity to go up to the legislature session last month and meet with the different congressmen and senators and highlight the value of public schools. And it was good. Most of them that we saw, we got to talk to, they fully understand the need and the value. Even those that are outspoken toward the voucher program, I think they realize that it's important to support us and support what we're doing. I'm also on the board for Communities in Schools, and we had a board meeting this morning. Reminder to everyone that we have our annual fundraiser, Rock and Roll for Kids, on the 1st of April, and there are still plenty of slots open and tables available for those that are interested. I saw several from our district, but there's plenty more available. And also the chamber luncheon today watched Dr. Gibson and Gary Inman represent us and talk well about the school, and very well received by the different members at the board, or at the chamber. Mr. Aspect.
Yes, it was good today. Very good chamber election, education address. I was also in Austin, I guess a few weeks ago, it's all right together now. Great meeting with other school board members across the state. Different legislators came and spoke to us, and that is always eye-opening. And then we had some great discussions in different offices, and I just want to say the Great Conversations team that was with us was absolutely wonderful. Loved the shirts. They spoke just absolutely eloquently wonderful. I was so proud to be with them, and then they're even got some TV time, or they got stopped just because of their shirts. People asking them about it, supporting public education. And then I will be heading on Friday to the National School Board Conference in Denver, Colorado. So along with Mr. Inman.
I was just going to give Patrick the first break. He's been harassing me about the break.
Wait, I gotta get a picture.
Wait. So we were just doing it. He asked me a question. It wasn't really a question. Dr. Gibson, how may we assist you in ensuring that the bracelets get ordered? We're gonna do it. They're in. We have 6,000 of them, Patrick. We're ready to go. Get to
I'll just add real quick to what everyone else said. Dr. Gibson and I did do a quick presentation today at the church chamber. Mr. Eisbeck and Mr. Perkins were there as well. And we always get a positive reception from our community, and that's one thing that I think is fairly rare, quite honestly. I'm never at all embarrassed to go out and talk about our school district and how we're performing. You can see people just light up. I mean, I think they love our district, and that really isn't a attribution to you guys. You guys are the ones that put in the hard work every day. So these are the business folks. I mean, a lot of them don't even have kids to go to our schools, or they may have graduated years and years ago, but they recognize that their business success is dependent upon how well we do. That's why we have people move into this area, or people stay in this area. They recognize that. You talk to real estate agents, they're super proud to tell folks, yeah, come on out here to Schertz-Civil Universal City, because we've got great schools. And they certainly recognize that's one of the top issues that people look at when they're deciding where they move to. Again, I think Dr. Gibson felt the same way today, that just we always get a positive reception. People are happy with the work that you guys do, and I think that's a huge kudos to everybody in this room.
And Wayne, I forgot to tell you while I go at the groundbreaking, we mentioned the CAC at the chamber, and not just on the Maggie said, she thought we picked up several people that wanted to sit on our community advisory committee at the chamber today. In fact, Mr. Inman mentioned it, and then had Maggie speak about it, just off the cuff. And of course, she did great.
And when she even got up there, showed where to find all the reports.
I just-
Yeah, she just projected it, she totally took over, so it was awesome. She did a great job.
Mr. Inman, let me add to what you're saying. I I hate to pass up this opportunity I've been in this district a long time. Mr. Inman has been here a long time. Several of you others have been here quite a while, but we've always had really supportive parents, supportive community members, which helps us get the things that we need. We haven't neglected and grossly abused the privileges that we have as a board and what we can do. And I think the community and parents appreciate that. And one other thing, as a 22-year principal in this district, we always have had great kids, great students, and that comes from coming from great homes. And we do have students that struggle, but we try to provide for those students to help them get through it. And I think people in this room, the staff members, have helped in that process. I was a principal at a school and we had CASA students, so I'm very familiar with the CASA program. And it does wonderful things for those students, and that's why I want to say I'm so happy we have the 18 Plus program. And I have some experience with students, that are in need of a program like that. But again, I want to, our parents and our students are really the backbone of this school district. I just want to say that. So thank you all, parents.
All right, this time we're going to go ahead and just take a short break, and we're going to recess and reconvene at 7 o'clock p.m. Haley and Smile, appreciate you guys for being here. No requirement to stay till the end, so you're free to go. I'm sure your folks will appreciate that as well. And moms, dads, appreciate you guys being here, sponsors as well, and you guys are the ones that help these students be as successful as they are. So appreciate that as well. So we'll break until 7 o'clock p.m. Everyone's ready to go, 6:58, so we're going to go ahead and reconvene in continue with the board meeting. Everyone's okay? All right. This time we're going on with our new business, report discussion items. First item is report 2014-2018 strategic plan report, review of the 2016-17 annual action plan. Dr. Gibson.
Yeah, thank you, President and trustees. And this is not a dive deep tonight by any stretch. And we're actually only going to give one overview presentation tonight, and we'll pick back up with our priority 1, priority 2, priority 1, priority 3 rotations later. But just to update you on something that we've been working on, and we've been trying to keep the board abreast of it, is what we're calling our annual action plan, which takes our 19 goals. I know you all know this, and when we're looking around, everybody in the room knows this. But we've taken our 19 SMART goals down to 6, so I won't go back on that. I just wanted to give you a few updates. These have been tweaking based on feedback that we've received from various meetings and the various groups that we're working with from early Team 1 with community meetings as well, with regards to how we describe the summative measures. And so, I would offer this to you just for feedback. We believe that we're kicking this off officially next year, and it's just kind of a draft to get us ready for next year. So, a little better description of the summative measures. That's to be contrasted with the process monitoring. Summative measures, we're actually giving a stoplight report on how we did on those goals. Process monitoring, just for your information, down at the bottom of the front page, is just not, it's not saying, and I think Dee worded it well here, how we did on it. It's did we assess it. So you see a few reds on there, and I'll give an example. The satisfaction survey at the CCAC. Cold that night, really cold. That was our one day of winter this year. And people didn't show up, and so we didn't do what we were going to do that night. So that was going to finish red. The priority 1 process monitoring is all yellow right now because every one of those had at least one assessment, and they're in the process of continuing to be assessed. So they'll be yellow probably until the end of the year, and then if we hit all of the times we intended to assess it, then we'll put it green by the end of the year. So I just wanted to update you all on that. And then on the back of it, this is something that's really new. So these are strategic actions. So the way we're measuring this is utilizing Team 1 as our primary leadership group, I guess, that will assess these strategic actions. So we'll do it based on the stoplight at the bottom. An approach has been developed. And has been, back up, red approach has not been developed. Yellow approach has been developed. And then green, an approach has been developed in community. So that's really simple, but I think that's the best way to score it, and it's kind of like you're either doing it or you're not. And, you know, and that's what we just have to, so monthly, we're assessing, are we really making steps on these strategic actions? These align to what you all have approved as trustees with our priorities. We believe that that's what you spend $144 million a year on, is getting this stuff done. So that's what we're going to measure.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from trustees? And we want for the record to indicate that Mark Wilson appeared at 6:50 p.m.
Did he stay?
And he is still here. That's not being here for the remainder of the night. So we're good to go. Full board is here. So next item on the agenda, report March 2017 construction update. Mr. Brewski.
Yes, good evening. This is the first 2016 update for the bond projects, and actually the kickoff today. Thank you all for being there and being receptive to doing the groundbreaking today. Thank you to all Team 1 and cabinet members who were there as well. We are in its infancy, as you saw out there. We're turning dirt, a little dusty, but it's better than mud. And moving forward, the Rose Garden project, actually what you saw out there, I have a few pictures here. It's kind of, like I said, it's going to be short and sweet. We're at 1.82% complete.
Didn't they go a little higher with the dirt?
I didn't have time to update it to the 88%. 1.88. Not the number, that's
We
the
probably messed up.
Yeah, we might have dropped it. So again, the site, the plan of the campus, and then the architect rendition of the campus, kind of like Civil Valley. A few small changes to it, again, the rendition, and then what we saw today with more clouds than what was out there today. But you get the idea. We're moving forward there. Permitting has gone through. They're going to start drilling the piers tomorrow. Start working on that. Had a construction meeting, not our first one, but we had a construction meeting today, and in the long lookout, which is 2 to 3 weeks, it looks like we might be even forming up for the slab. So they're moving. Everybody is moving forward and wanting to go at a fast, rapid pace here. So as you know, it's on an accelerated schedule for August of 2018 opening, and we're hoping everything that we will be fine with that. Just to let you know, things are still moving forward. You can't tell based on what you see, but Clemens, we finalized that plan through the board. Documents are out for contractors to be evaluating and to start working on their bid docs. And we're looking to have those returned in later on this month, evaluated and hopefully brought forth to the board in April with a notice to proceed, hopefully issued for May, June timeline. And then having Clemens kick off as well. So that's where we're at now. HVAC, the HVAC replacement project, we're looking at that being the summer of 17 and summer of 18 project. We're splitting those campuses to work at those campuses up. Just as a reminder, it's Wilder, Jordan Intermediates, and then Watts Elementary. So we're going to do half of it on all 3 campuses. Half of the campus will be affected, and then in 2018, the other half will be done. So that design is finished. We have a contractor, Marksman, on board, and we're looking forward to starting that as well. That's pretty much it.
All right, thanks, Mr. Brucey. Any questions or comments from the board? Ms. President.
I was gonna say, Wayne, we had so they probably won't start Clement. I know first we talked about May, waiting for testing and all that, but now maybe June, or is there some stuff already starting?
It'll pretty much depend on the contractor and then looking at that phasing plan. They'll probably start mobilizing. Best case is mobilization in May. Not really doing anything until June. Substantial. We don't want to disrupt as much as we can. But if there's some avenue where we can take advantage, we're going to try to do that. But again, that
I
falls
just
into
get asked a
that.
lot, so.
Anyone else? All right, thanks, Mr.
Thank
Brucey.
you.
Next item up on the agenda is a report on the update on the 85th Texas Legislative Session. Dr. Gibson.
Yeah, thank you, President Emmons, trustees. So there's 3 documents basically that were given to you tonight, just in way of update. First one is a reminder that next Monday, the 27th, the great conversations team, Patrick, I'm sure you and/or your colleagues are there for a staff meeting where we're going to review through the same items that we carried to Austin with staff members. As we've talked about this more and more this legislative session, teachers basically have said, well, hey, we want to know more about that. So this is a meeting that we're holding at Samuel Clemens High School. Didn't know that. So we're having it at Samuel Clemens High School. That's good. And we're going to try to help our staff maybe get more engaged or just have all the time they need to ask all the questions they want to just figure out whatever is a hot topic for them. The second item, and this will, Ms. Maloney will touch on, is the TASA bills that are being watched on the House Public Ed. And I want to focus on a couple of them, and I actually don't know the number of one of them, but it's on here, and we really need to support it. And we need to find out exactly which one it is. But there is one bill that has been submitted by Donna Howard that allows a district, if they did and do pass a tax ratification election for the 13 cents, that they find themselves in a situation where they do not need to stay at that due to the appraised values going up or some windfall or some change to the formula, that they can come off of it. It's always authorized, if that makes sense, to go up to it. But because right now the way the law was written the first time, they can't back off of it. And so some districts are winding up putting money in fund balance, not needing to be at that total $1.17. But by law they can't back off of it. They actually are asking to back off of it, if that makes sense. So it's just interesting. So there's a little caveat of the previous law that passed that a few people know about. Paige is going to touch on a little bit, or Paige, we can do it now, and they shorten another item. But on page 2 of 3 of that TASA document is HB 21. What do you want to hit that? Do you have those high points?
That's Congressman Huberty's bill, and in the budget parameter memo, I think we hand out new copies.
I've got them. Just read them right now, and we'll, as we're on this subject, we'll just go through this now. I can't catch up first, so I'm going to stall as Paige is listening for him.
Okay, basically what that was is, as the property taxes have risen all over the state, the state basically had $1.6 billion in excess of what was appropriated to education, so it's been going into other things. And so Congressman Huberty's bill is basically saying, let's put that $1.6 billion back in education where it was supposed to be allocated for. And what that would mean for our district is about $1.4 million for both 17-18 and 18-19.
So they'll raise the basic allotment, which is a way that helps everybody.
Right.
It's one of the only ways to help everybody.
Helps almost everybody. There are some
But that's
few
true.
school districts that are really not.
And what they'll have to do for that, this bill to have a chance is figure out a way to help them.
Yes.
I'm just telling you, because that's what happened with the last session when they got killed. So we're watching them, and we have our fingers crossed. And if they do that and raise the Austin yield, which is not part of this bill, that's just part of the mechanism
It's
that's
part of
in
the
place.
formula. I mean, we're pretty certain that the Austin yield thing is going to come through, which would generate 1.7 and 17-18 and 2.3 million at 18,000. So that's
So if we get both of those fingers crossed, HB 21 and the Austin.
4 million over the value.
It's around 3 million, which will, in the budget parameter now, we'll show you how far that would go. Okay, so those are really the hot deals that we're watching. The Senate, y'all are probably watching them volley back and forth about what's, Senate needs to get on board, with the budget is the most important thing. Speaker of the House is out, Senate needs to get on board. Speaker of the House, okay, so they're just going back and forth now. With respect to school funding, I'll be very careful about how I say this, but with respect to school funding, what Huberty and the House has proposed is the only bill that's looking like it's going to help us. Nothing else really matters. Everything else hurts us. Everything else we either stay neutral or we lose. So I don't know. We have so much energy. HB 21 kind of becomes where all of our energy goes. I mean, a lot of the other stuff is just stuff. The other document that's in here is just the packet that we took with us to our representative. I just want to make sure the full board had it, just so you know kind of what our key talking points are. And it was a very successful day, and we really appreciate those that attended. And next Tuesday, I think we're running back up, so if any trustees want to go, not on a short notice, we'll make another trip up, but we're just going to run up there next Tuesday morning. Some of the great conversation team members are going, and we're just going to, again, wear the red shirts and just remind them of who we are and hand them the same stuff.
I just say that morning it was very clear when the Senate spoke to us and the House side spoke, that Daniel Green's plan was very well received by all the superintendents and students in that room.
Is there a way, maybe, I'm forgetting my schoolhouse rock days about how bills are introduced. Yes, just the bill, is it the same way in the Texas House, said there's reconciliation?
Well, yeah, they are assigned, I mean, you hear dying in committee, you know, that's 90% of them die in committee, which is actually a good thing. But it's very, very slow. In fact, we sent a document out, we'll put it in the board update. It shows, what, about 25 to 30 steps that the bill has to take. It's amazing. You know, as it goes through. So, like, for instance, Mr. Crew, are you testifying at a committee hearing? Is that what you said? Okay, so see, that bill has been laid out on the floor, then it's going to this committee, and he's there to try to explain it at that committee. And they may lay out 30 bills in one day. So he may be testifying on one of 30 bills that are laid out that day. Then it goes House, Senate, like you said, reconciliation. And then calendars is supposed to be like the most important, because that means now it's been placed back on the calendar to go back out. A lot of steps.
All right, thank you.
Anything further?
That's the only word.
All right, next item on the agenda, review of the initial estimated budget projections for 17-18 budget development process.
Yes, and you do have, Dr. Gibson,
Sorry, I'm calling that.
President Inman and members of the board, you do have that updated budget parameter memo in front of you. As Dr. Gibson said, we are monitoring the 85th legislative session very, very closely. That's on page 1 of that memo. On page 2, we did update the superintendent's initiatives that I think you're going to be considering tonight, this evening, and with the election timeline to include bond elections and if we were to go out for a TRE or a tax ratification election. On the 3rd page, we are still basing our projected budget on enrollment of 15,804 students. We have been hesitant to put in anything like the Austin Yield, like the Libertyville. We're just keeping it with the current formulas right now, and that will change based on what happens in the legislative session. We do feel pretty confident within the current formulas that this Austin Yield will happen. If you look at the federal revenue, we are monitoring President Trump's budget very, very closely. There has been some indication that Title II funds would be reduced. The federal programs money has already been appropriated for 17-18, but that's something that we're going to have to watch in the future on our Title II funds. Something that we added is the DoDEA military grant. We will be receiving our $300,000. We're in a 5-year plan for that, for the grant for our high schools and our junior highs at $1.5 million. So we'll receive for $300,000 next year, because you get $300,000 every year. We are in the process now of applying for the same for our intermediate schools. And what that does is focus on our military transition services for students who are coming from all over the world into our schools, because we're going to expand it to our intermediates now.
Paige, is it fair to say that we believe that helps our counseling staff?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, that's really good. That's the crux of what that's doing.
Because
our counselors would
transition counselors, we're able to contract with another organization through the military, and then student training so that their students are able to help other students coming in.
Better service to our students and parents, but at the same time, it helps our own counseling staff.
Yes, and our plan is to apply for the intermediate, the 1.5, where they will receive over 5 years, $300,000 each year, and then in the following year we'll apply for elementary. So basically, what we're looking at is about $4.5 million over 7 years to get these counseling services in to help with our military families. So that's something that we added in. Looking at the state revenue, we've already talked about the Austin Yield and HB 21, and we know that there's not currently anything in the Senate
It's
that's
pretty
going to help us
succinct
much.
statement. Senate budget does not help. I like it.
Yes, being pretty blunt about that. So, when we've talked a lot about student enrollment and transfers and things like that, and you had asked that we provide some information on showing that we are gaining more students, but you wanted to see the increase in, enrollment, but you wanted to see where the transfers in are coming from and where the transfers out are going to. So we provided that in your packet so you can see the schools where they're going. Any school that's receiving kids, or if we're receiving kids from a school district that's below 5 kids, it's masked because of FERPA violations. You could determine who those kids were. So that's that.
And at the bottom of that page, just in way of information, I looked at the report today, and I think oil is at $45 a barrel. So so there's 1 or 2 oil companies down there. We can't help but just know, let's just be realistic. I mean, we can't expect that if oil stays there for them to be as robust as they say. We'll just say it that way. A couple of them on there. We'll watch that carefully. Now theoretically, if that goes down, the state's supposed to fill that gap in the state revenue, but that always lags a year behind.
And then on the next page, we've been going over the EPP, that nothing has changed there. But we were able, the current enrollment projections indicate that 24 additional teachers are going to be needed, and so we have that amount that would be needed. So you have to start thinking, okay, if we get the Austin Yield at 1.7, I mean, would take that. I mean, you start thinking about those things, and then on the following page we've estimated out 1%, 2%, and 3% raises, and you can see that where that money goes, and we're going to go pretty fast.
So let's just do this group. So if HB 21 or the Austin Yield do not happen, let's say neither one of those happen, and 24 positions is that, based on our projection, forget the state fund. That's what we know we have to have just for teacher positions. And then if we're going to give a raise, does this budget balance without that additional state help?
It would be very difficult.
Okay. So I just want to put that in perspective of what we may do this year. This is probably true on every legislative year, but especially this one, we're really hanging our hat on that. We may not ask for, you see how this has a draft on it? We may not ask the board to approve this until June 1, if that makes sense. We're going to keep it on this agenda so we keep talking about it. But until we know June 1,
Under the current formulas, it would be difficult.
Right, but
However,
let's go back to our first paragraph on this.
Yeah.
If nothing changes current formulas, what we're saying is to get those 2 things paid for. And that means not going to the EPP and several other things as well.
Right.
Okay. That's worst case scenario. I'm giving worst case scenario.
And this year we have not hired any of the fast growth positions due to the decline in enrollment, and I mean, that's just what we've had to do and tighten up and that sort of thing.
Yeah, okay, I want to be careful. So we didn't decline in enrollment, we just didn't grow.
We just didn't grow, sorry,
Okay.
due to not reaching
Our
our projection.
when we say decline.
Yeah. We did not reach the projection that we based the budget on.
Yep. So I guess is the board comfortable with us not asking for approval like we do on non-legislative years every other year? We'll keep this on the agenda and have this, however long conversation the board wants to have in April and May. Everyone okay with that? Then later tonight, we'll go ahead and take this up. Our one action item is Linda asking for those positions right there, right? Basically, put her on the 4th page this time.
Fast question on the staffing ratios. Have we always had just, I thought it used to be ELA and math, 1 to 28 in secondary. Or has it always been all 3 and I'm just forgetting?
At one time it was both of those, and then several years ago, we only had it at the ELA and took off the math. And I think it was based on scores at that time and the extra help needed for STAR and some of the writing that they were working on. So it was determined at that time to just have the 28-1 in ELA right for that.
Okay. And that's an average, I want to really understand.
That's an average.
Yes.
You're correct.
Because, yes.
Yeah, and what, on that, I appreciate you bringing that up. In the consent agenda, there's a connection here between several agenda items. In the consent agenda are my goals, and the first goal is to begin the process. You know, we talked about today with the chamber tax ratification election. By the way, I said those words out loud at the chamber, and no one threw anything that you guys saw. And so someone may say, okay, if Huberty's bill, let me just say it this way: so if Huberty's bill passes, Austin Yield becomes the mechanism. Then, okay, you don't need a TRE. I don't know. Again, I'm not ready to say that, because if we're going to consider what you just brought up, you know, that, if we're going to look at a more robust CTE program, which is one of the other goals, and we're going to look at really trying to meet those expenditure projections planned every single year, and we keep getting them tighter and tighter and tighter, but it's still 3, 4, 5 million a year to keep up with extracurricular, I'll just say that, and all these large expenditures. You start adding all that up, and that's big, it's millions. And so the TRE, if Huberty happens and if Austin Yield happens, that doesn't mean no TRE. Now, it may mean not all 13 cents, but if they pass that bill that Donna Howard has proposed, we might ask for approval for all 13 cents. Not meaning they just authorize it, but we're saying we're not going all the way to it. We're only going to go to the amount that we need each year to balance the budget. But all of these are kind of all together right now. And that's where my head is with respect to budget and legislation.
And we can put together some runs for you for, I mean, we do consider the TRE to look at each additional cent that we would ask for and what that would generate for the district.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that, you know, that this is just the 24 teacher positions. We have bus driver, child nutrition, we have other positions that we've asked for, administrative assistants and all of that, and that's not even factored into this.
Anything else? All right, thank you. Next time we have for discussion is acquiring easements, access easement for Rose Garden Replacement Campus. Mr. Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, Dr. Gibson. We have an item here for an access easement for the Rose Garden Replacement Campus. As part of the site preparation for a new campus, in discussions with our city partners, the district has identified the need with their assistance for an easement for access across the neighborhood property. That's Teresa Hunt property right beside our new Rose Garden property. The purpose of that easement would be for access to our site and to bring the access point directly opposite an existing access point across the street of the Willowbrook Estate on 15. I have a picture I can show you if you'd like to see that. Let's see if I'll big screen. Sure. Okay, I'll show you two pictures. This is the first photo, or drawing, I should say, that was provided to us by the city of Schertz. This was our proposed access way into our property on this side. And then in the gray area is the proposed schematic grid drawing that we provided to the owner. As you see it go in, and you make an immediate left-hand turn into our property. Across the street is the Willowbrook Estate. The preliminary drawing provided to us by our engineer looks a little different. It looks a little bit more streamlined going into our property, as you can see, flows easier into our property. Mr. Pruski and I have a meeting scheduled next Monday afternoon with discussed is a possible access easement on his property. We're going to be building a road over here. However, if we build it here, it would be directly across from an access already at Willow Road. And I believe you can add to this that TxDOT likes having access points across from one another.
Yes, this is we have our site, we have our cutouts. What's happening is TxDOT, for all intents and purposes, I'll paraphrase, does not like our southern cutout was shown here in the middle of the picture. They'd rather our entrance be aligned with the Willow Grove entrance on the other side, so they will align for future signalization. But the landowner at that time, the developer, where this drawing is shown for the island, we're not there yet. So it's kind of a dicey situation between three entities, SCUC, City of Schertz, and TxDOT. So we're trying to work through this in a process way to determine the best route here. Basically, we're ahead of development on 1518. As you know, 1518 is going to be expanded, but that has been kicked back now for about another 3 to 7 years. They're still saying. So, yeah. So that was just recently run. So this is all, it's kind of what we're dealing with like a steel.
We've communicated for 3 years our intention. I'll just say that. I guess all of a sudden seemed to get important.
And we did just sign the plat today for the original design, point to city tomorrow morning, final approval. So we do have some, I don't want to say leverage, but we're in a good position with that approved plat already. We'll see what the discussions lead to. If we can make it beneficial to the district, that'd be good.
Any questions, comments? Again, this will be back for action in April or May. Most likely just put on a consent agenda. Okay. Thanks, Matt.
Unless it's unfavorable.
This total for a while.
Next item is conveyance of easement to GBAG at 101 acre site on Old Wiederstein Road. Mr. Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and Dr. Gibson. We have a 101 acre site, as you recall, not too far from I-35 and Old Wiederstein Road. That's where Cibolo Valley Drive turns into Old Wiederstein when it enters the city of Schertz. So we have that site there, and I'd like to show you a little drawing there. From GVEC. GVEC has requested an easement to install a guy or an anchor for the pole that's on our property there. Once that site is developed, we'll be able to use that pole as a takeoff point to provide service to our site. It's also going to be able to be used by the people across the street, but it will provide power for our site there. This is very similar to the pole that they just installed on Elbell Road across the street from Clemens High School, providing power to our portables. This is a discussion item for tonight. We'll be bringing that back once we get the easement finalized with GVEC. Next board probably on that time frame.
Questions, comments on this?
Matt, that's the part of Wiederstein Road that goes back to 1103.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Because our property is that, it's not at the corner, but it's off the corner and down that Wiederstein Road, the 101 acre.
This is our property there.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, our
It
property.
goes down. Yes, okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, LCRA is further on there. You can probably see their towers are much bigger.
All right, any questions, comments? All right, thanks, Matt. Next item is for discussion, board meeting planning calendar for 17-18 school year.
And Dee Dee, help me out here, but primarily we wanted to bring a couple of dates out, and then we'll send this calendar out, but we wanted to ask a couple of things. We are asking specifically if the trustees would be available for April the 4th. I think we communicated in the board update, or we were
We
about
did
to.
the last board update, for the next probably three months on that first Tuesday.
Generally speaking, there's some topic that we can dive deep or not hold the meeting, but if we did happen to have agreements, the board president and I were talking about, that would probably be more productive to conduct that at that time. And that's, so we're asking everybody to mark April the 4th as the first Tuesday and hold that date if you can.
Trustees, what Dr. Gibson and I have been talking about, this is certainly not an attempt to have 2 board meetings per month. Just make sure you understand that. Okay, we're not trying to schedule moving forward 2 board meetings per month. But we thought just for the sake of transparency and continuity and planning purposes, instead of randomly coming up with these so-called dates for extra meetings, and Dee Dee has to send out an email, is everyone available? And we kind of just toss it around. And sometimes that gets a little bit, tough for her to schedule. Why not just go ahead and put on the calendar, set dates that we set aside for those purposes? So whether there may be agreements or some other topic that happens to come up, or we need a workshop or whatnot, we already know in advance when we're going to have those set aside meetings. And then that way we can do it systematically and put it on the calendar ahead of time instead of having situation by situation. So, does that make sense? Again, no way, shape, or form an attempt to have 2 board meetings per month.
Yeah, we want to make sure the board gets exactly what it needs, but we don't need to hear ourselves talk. So, to your point of it not being an additional meeting, if there is a topic that is a little in conjunction with the board president, I'll talk to the board president that hey, that might take a little longer in our regular meeting. Do you want to have it on that night? So we'll do a discussion on it, not action. We'll do a discussion on it.
Everyone okay with that?
And then the other date is May the 25th, and we just wanted to draw your attention, this isn't mandatory, and if trustees are available, and if 4 or more plan to come, we just need to post the agenda. But our lead curriculum auditor is going to be in the district to do a 5 meetings, 6 meetings, just so and it's kind of the same meeting over and over and over again, just with different depth based on who's present in that. And he is offering to stay after 5 p.m. with trustees, if trustees want to get just a real high-level overview of the curriculum audit findings. That's May the 25th. And again, we're going to pencil it in and tell him yes, then we just need you all to say if it's going to be more than a formal meeting to post it. If not, we won't worry about posting it. But those 3 are welcome to come sit down with that senior staff members. There'll be a lot of those folks right there. That are going through it, and they'll be like their 5th time to go through it that day. So they ought to know about that. What's that? Potentially principals. At that same time, bringing principals back. Okay. So May 25, let's say 5 p.m. Tentatively for right now. I'd say an hour. It's just an overview. But if you want to hear it from the auditor himself, that would be a really good time.
Question on that?
Will that be the earliest? Sorry. Will that be the earliest date that we get results? Or are you going to get results before that?
No, that will be the earliest date. That's just the overview. Then we actually probably put it on as a discussion item at the May board meeting and then an action item at the June board meeting. This is in addition to that. Thank you for asking that. This is in addition to that. So it kind of is the point that this is the earliest time you can hear something about it. That's exactly right.
Did anything to add on that?
No, sir.
Okay.
So we'll send this calendar out right to the board just to make sure you all can kind of get a feel for where we are in the next few months.
And just for the record, we did arguably randomly just pick that first Tuesday. I mean, it doesn't have to be the first Tuesday. We just thought, continuity's sake, that would work. But if there happens to ultimately end up being a different day that works better for everybody, then let us know, and there's nothing set in stone on that. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda, TASB policy update 107. We have policies there, CA through J.
And we're not going to go through all of these, but I just wanted to put them in your hand and let you take this with you and do with what you please. Generally speaking, after a quick cursory overview by the people that you're looking at right here, we feel pretty comfortable that we will accept all TASB recommendations for local policy except perhaps CDC. There's some components of CDC, which is other revenues given solicitations, that we're questioning our analysts on. It's not, we just don't know why they're adding a lot of the language that they're adding. And they're actually adding clarification in policy to practices that we do not currently utilize. So it's causing us heartburn about, wait a minute, if our board adopts this, now we have that process. And we didn't before. And I'm sure it's at the recommendation of the districts, that's why they added it there. So potentially on CDC, we may bring back either a B version or a C version if they have it, or an X version, depending on how that goes in the next few months. We may ask the board to approve all the rest of it at the May board meeting and only talk about CDC, but maybe strike that out and only talk about that one. Everything else that appears right now is going forward.
I don't want to dive into this too deep, but the policy GE local, this one deals with relations with parent organizations. And I assume that this one also deals with booster clubs.
Yes.
I know for better or worse, booster clubs are issued all over the state. They're the worst thing that can happen to you, the best thing that can happen to you, and everything in between. Have we put administrative procedures in place on how to actually work with all the booster clubs across our district, or is it still kind of a big smash of, each booster club probably works a little bit differently, and each school works a little bit differently?
Yeah, so just as far as key work processes go, Mr. Lapp and Mr. Limhoff now have that kind of divided out in their downline. And it's one of their key work processes. And I guess maybe to your question, that's not been the case in the past, for that to be considered a key work process of 2 director levels. Is that fair to say? Is that a good way to put it? I think Mr. Lapp, at one of his very first meetings, we were working with some booster clubs and he said, should not be doing that. And I knew we hired the right man.
Okay, let's check down on that. And again, I don't want to get too deep into that either, but it's been my experience that being the president of the Booster Club, it's deal. The district now requires the booster organization to send the financial information, okay?
Right.
And that's actually a violation of the IRS tax code, believe it or not, because I talked to the folks at the IRS about 503C. If the district requires that, then the district actually basically owns that. It's really weird. I think Ms. Maloney should look into it because we are still, this has been many years ago, okay? But we're still requiring that of the booster organizations. And as a district, we're not entitled to it. And as a district, if we accept that information according to the IRS, then now all of a sudden we're a part of that entity and we're not.
Yeah.
So just food for thought, if you'll just please look at that. Because we can't, we as a district
When
can't
Walsh
be
did our
asking.
training this last summer, they mentioned that same thing, so it is a practice that we've got to get out of if we're not already.
Yeah, but it's, I think, in our your administrative regulations. It's not in any kind of board policy, but in administrative regulations, it's asking for that documentation.
Okay, so our attorneys wrote that, so.
Anyway, just
They got
look
to
at all.
explain it.
Are you saying requiring the budget or the 503B status?
No, they're requiring, the district is requiring for the
Financial statements?
the financial statements, the bank documents, everything. And that's, yeah, that's a no-no.
Yeah, again, I don't want to beat this to death, but this is a fairly complicated topic, and it's one of those things where, to the best extent possible, we need to keep ourselves legally separate from these organizations, but also provide the appropriate oversight so that they have to jump through certain hoops in order to be affiliated with our district. I know what happens here, and it happens in other districts. We have school employees holding the money, they're taking it home in bags, bringing it back the next day. I mean, it's just, that overlap gets a little bit dicey sometimes, but we have the legal authority to create oversight and ask for certain documentation and certain things that they have to do before they can become affiliated with us. And we check it once a year. We need to know who the officers are and that they are accounting for their dollars and taking care of taxes and things like that without actually doing it for them or keeping the books ourselves or holding the money ourselves. And then that's when we get in trouble to some extent. So this, I know it's a big topic, but I would certainly love to know that we're actually taking, sort of look at that. I think we have in the past. We've got the attorneys come in and just follow through with that.
Yeah, this coming year, I believe, is the first year where we'll require each organization to be a 501c3. This coming year, which then I think triggers everything we're talking about, because that becomes part of the process once you do that. And not everybody's gonna like that. So, I mean, now this conversation here before has been about one side of the equation, so get ready, when we do everything we're talking about here, they'll be complaining. Okay, so just be ready. Okay.
All right, everyone okay with that? And again, so the intention there is for each of those policies to come back for approval, maybe in April.
Yeah, we may pull CDC though, depending on the progress we make.
And again, that gives trustees opportunities to read over these for the first next month if you have any further questions.
Correct.
All right, anything further? Okay, so with that in mind, agenda item 9, we're going to go back. It looks like items number 5, 6, and 8. 5 and 6 maybe on April, maybe on May, it just depends on the situation. And then agenda number 8, that'll be on the consent agenda for next board meeting. We'll pull 1 or 2 policies, so to speak. Look for those on the consent agenda next month. Any questions about that? Moving on, consent agenda items, item B. Do we have any particular item any trustee would like to pull for individual consideration? Seeing none, do we have a motion on the consent agenda items? Mr. Perkins.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the consent agenda items as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second by Mr. Westbrook. Any further discussion? Questions? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. First action item, request for board approval, new positions for school year 2017-2018 by Ms. Cannon.
Yes, good evening, Dr. Gibson, President Edmonds, members of the board. As we discussed earlier, we're requesting 24 additional teaching positions for next year. These are to be placed at various campuses, pre-K through 12 throughout the district based on the demographic enrollment projections of each of those campuses and on our staffing guidelines. And then if we approve these now, it gives us a kind of a jump start into the hiring process for the principals as we work on staffing through the spring.
And add a sentence to that, which this board has historically done, and we really appreciate it.
We do appreciate this. It really helps out our administration.
Mr. President, I move the Board of Trustees approve the proposal submitted by All right, 123. I move the Board of Trustees approve the attached new position list for 2017-2018 school year.
Motion
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion or comments?
I got a question, Mr.
Yes, sir.
President. According to the budget parameter memo, it's just a draft, and I always understand that. I guess I'm a little confused that the overall enrollment projections for 17-18 really only reflect 120 more students, 123, is that correct? Okay, so over the past several years, we've been growing roughly at 400 or 500 students, okay? Are we understaffed right now?
We're not understaffed right now, but it kind of depends on where the staffing falls within each campus. So we get the projections and we take a campus and break it down by each of the grade levels, and it depends on what those ratios are and where the staffing is necessary.
Okay, so my question is, are we understaffed right now? Currently today, are we understaffed?
We are not understaffed based on our
Okay,
staffing
that's-
guidelines.
Okay.
We like our guidelines.
By our guidelines, we're not understaffed, okay. So we're asking for 24 more teachers and we're only going to grow by 123. Okay. So that's my question. You know, the ratio doesn't match this year. If we're growing by 400 or 500 students, you guys have come to us for 24 different teaching positions. I'm like, okay, I get it.
We requested the past several years 30 additional teachers, so
Okay,
this is a
4.
reduction.
So it's 6 less for 300 less.
Yeah, but
or so
what
students.
we're not factoring into that is that we did not fill however many of the teaching positions this year. We froze them. We're absorbing that to help offset the budget
Right.
deficit this year.
Okay, so, but it still goes back to, we're not understaffed, and we're only growing by 123, and you guys are asking for 24 more teachers for 123 children.
There are some also that are hitting magic numbers with their guidelines as far as additional rotations teachers. For instance, a PE teacher, when they go over a certain number at that specific campus, would provide them more support services as well. So there are some positions like that in there as well.
I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm just trying to, is any layperson will look at this and pay attention to this, they're gonna go, wow, they're asking for 24 for 123 more children. So I guess it's the thing I have to wrap my head around is that, okay, if we're not understaffed, like I said, then you're asking for 24 more people and we're not understaffed. It doesn't match.
Okay, so I'm gonna just
We're all 30 of the positions that were asked for last year filled.
No, they were not.
Yeah,
That's what
so we're not talking about actually hiring 30 people or 24 people. We're talking about the ability to be ready to hire those people if necessary and not come back to us every time we need somebody, because we continue to grow by 500 students every year.
Our
Possibly
enrollment,
more.
that's what Ms. Picton said exactly right. Our enrollment at the start of this year was 15,460, and we're projecting 15,804. That's a gain of 400 students. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So yeah, we netted that 123, but we made that adjustment within this current budget by not hiring all of them. I guess that's what we're saying.
Yeah, I would love to get our elementary schools back to 22 and less, 20, 18, 16. But in this day and age, with the budget parameters we have, it's just not going to happen right now. But if we have the ability to hire those teachers when those numbers show up, they don't have to come back to us.
And the 123 is based on what the projections were. We didn't hit our projection this year, so we budgeted for that. So as Dr. Gibson just said, we're growing from, it's actually 300, the difference in the actual enrollment from October 2016 and the projection for 2017-18 is actually 344 students.
Right. So did 15,460 to 15,804? Did we leave it at 804? These are great questions.
Yes,
these are great questions.
Yes, again, and I understand that we've always added them, knowing that Dr. Gibson always comes to us and says, hey, here's one that I'm going to actually spend the money with.
Right.
You use it as you need it, and I get that. You're not going to go hire 24 more people tomorrow.
Right.
I get that.
Well, yeah, in fact, we always hold that. That's how we were able to make the adjustment this year, because we held those positions back.
So out of the 30 that we approved last year, how many did we hire? How many positions of that 30 did we use?
There are 10 left.
Okay,
For this
so
year.
there's 10 we didn't fill, so that for budget purposes to try to save the money.
Right.
Okay, so basically you're just asking us to approve 24 people, you may or may not use them. Again, I just think that needs to be explained
Yeah,
in an open forum to the stakeholders, to just say, hey, this is how we do business.
For the 300 additional students we project between now and the end of next year. I'm just going to keep saying that. Yeah, and that's the low enrollment because we got a little nervous this year. We've always used that high enrollment, so we used the low enrollment.
Well, and you also never really put some of this other stuff in here, I don't think, about transfers out, and net transfers and things of that nature. This is kind of new.
Yeah.
I think this is new information.
Request.
Right, no, I like that,
Yeah.
because you can put all this up at the top all you want, but you think you're gonna grow.
Right.
But then the transfer, if you're falling out of the bottom.
Yep.
So
That's correct. That's exactly right.
I just wanted to make sure that it got.
Yep.
And I'll just say one more thing, and this is like, when you first look at it, and you're exactly right, the layperson would say, oh, well, the actual budget was 115 million last year, and it's not going up that much, but you have to know that we're not going to spend that much because we did not reach our enrollment. So,
I understand. Thank you.
Mr. Groot, it's a question I did, and I think like some other people, I didn't really understand the audit interviews that we did, probably because he didn't like my questions, my answers, so he only asked like 3 questions and said we're done.
You weren't mentioned by name in the first draft of the report.
What?
No, you were not.
Yeah, because he asked me 3 questions, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much all I know, so, we talked sports for the rest of it, but anyway. In the audit, are they gonna come back and say, hey, based on our review, this is just a hypothetical, hey, we really need to increase our special education teacher ratio, we really need to increase our fine arts teacher program. Is that part of this audit? what do you mean?
Yes and no. I mean, those programmatic matters are at play. So they may not specifically say add 8 or add 4.2 FTEs, but
Sure.
they may bring up programmatic matters that we need to consider.
So if they bring up programmatic numbers and then y'all look at it and say, hey, based on what they recommend, we need to hire 4 special ed teachers. I'm just making stuff up. 3 fine arts teachers and 2 PE teachers. Those teacher recommendations come out of this 20 that we're now asking for.
That's a good question.
24.
Probably not. That's probably not, that's just my gut answer. That's not the way we view those 24. So we would need to come back as a separate item. Yeah, we would need that to be a separate conversation. So that's a good point you're bringing up, and I think this helps us all understand.
So would it be more beneficial not to approve the whole 24 now and see what those recommendations are and do it all at once? I understand the timeline of hiring some. We're obviously not going to hire all 24 now because as needed. Would it be better just to wait until we have those recommendations?
If we do, we just won't authorize our principals to start hiring right now. And now that our competitors around us will be doing the same thing as them, waiting until July to hire. I'm just saying that's the reality. What this does is just gives them the competitive advantage to go ahead and start hiring. And we just kick everybody by.
If
we get the job done.
Which we don't yet. We don't know if we do because based on projections.
No, we know feel comfortable. We're growing to 15,804 students next year. We're growing 300 and however many kids. We feel perfectly comfortable with that. So we'll staff to that.
Which is how many of that roughly would that be? Roughly out of those 24.
She just has to be an educated guest, so just make your
Just educated.
Well, most of those would be planned into place at a campus currently, but then the 10 additional that we did use this year would then become our fast growth for the next year. So we're projecting about 24 necessary to start school for next year.
Start school next year.
Yes.
So these 24 are needed.
Correct.
Okay. I guess that's why we're asking.
Any further questions, comments? All right, we do have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed, same sign. So that passes 5-2, correct?
So what we appreciate the conversation and look forward to having a similar one in April and a similar one in May and a similar one in June and probably a similar one in July. Because this is going to be a work in progress, just depending on what class. And quite frankly, a lot of what we're talking about potentially wanting to work on, this is my gut feeling, does not happen until we go talk about the tax ratification election, no matter what happens with you. So we're kind of talking about some 18, 19 issues right now, which is okay. So we'll have to get all the way through next year and get all the TRE stuff done and be ready for that. Or we're just kind of talking about stuff that we can't afford.
All right, yeah, motion passes 5-2. Next item is request for board approval, solicitation for Active Directory modernization services, and it's been requested that this item be pulled. It will not be considered for tonight. Having said that, this time that the board will go into closed session. We have 2 areas that we're going to discuss in closed session. Did I say 2 hours?
Yeah.
That's 2 hours.
That would be short, wouldn't it? Well, you guys talk. All right. We have 2 items in closed session. Number 1, discussion pertaining to the employment of contractual personnel. We're authorized to do that in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074. And we're also going to have a discussion pertaining to real property. And we're authorized to do that pursuant to Texas Government Code section 551.072. So at this time, 7:55 p.m., the board will go into closed session, and hopefully we'll return sometime within 2 hours. Good? 6:31 p.m. The only items we're discussing in closed session were 1, dealing with the pertaining to employment of contractual personnel. We also discussed duties and discipline of the public officer. We also discussed real property issues. All trustees are now back at dais. Move on to the action items. First one, request board action in consideration of contracts for administrators and professionals. Ms. Cannon, anything further to add?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have, in closed session, we discussed those individuals who have been proposed for renewal of their contracts. Do we have a motion on that item?
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the employment list as presented of contractual personnel for the 2016-2017 school year. That's right.
We actually have two separate items. Do the contracts for administrators and professionals.
I move that the Board of Trustees approve the attached list of administrators and professionals, Chapter 21, non-Chapter 21, as presented.
Motion second. Motion second. Any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously 7-0. Next item, request for board action, employment of contractual personnel. Scan. Any further? Okay. You have a motion on that item? That's the one you just read.
I move the Board of Trustees approve the employment list as presented of contractual personnel for the 2016-2017 school year.
Very good. We have a motion, we have a second. A motion second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion also passes unanimously 7-0. I believe that's the end of the action items. Peter, so take care of the closed session. What's it called again? Certified agenda. Do we have a calendar up?
Yes, we do.
Okay, Mr. Peter, share with us what's going on over the next month or two.
We have, next Tuesday, the 28th, we have Cibolo City Council at 6:30 p.m. And go to April 4th, we have a 6:30 p.m. City of Universal City Council meeting. We also have a scheduled board meeting, if necessary, on April 4th at 6 p.m. And on April 11th, Tuesday, we have 11:30 a.m. Tri-County Chamber lunch and 6 p.m. Sherwood City Council meeting and 6:30 p.m. Cibolo City Council. And on Thursday, the 13th, Selma City Council, 6:30 p.m. On the 18th, Sherwood Chamber of Commerce luncheon, and 6 p.m. we have our regular board meeting on the 18th. And then on the 25th of April, we have Cibolo City Council meeting, 6:30 p.m. And on the May 2nd, we have the City of Universal City, 6:30 p.m. council meeting. And I want to remind you again, this Friday, we have our Education Foundation golf tournament. Love to see everybody out there. And if you want to play, we can probably get you on the team. Probably wouldn't cost you anything, but the donation would be wonderful.
Roughly what time does that get started?
The registration's 11:30, and then lunch is 12, and then shotgun tee off at 1 p.m.
So I'll tell you, this Friday.
That's right.
A few days from now. And I'll tell you, say administrators as well, I mean, if you're not a golfer or if you don't want to play, just may not be a bad idea to stop by out there and just say hi to folks. And you do have a lot of these, let's say the word vendor, but let's say vendors that usually spend a lot of money and donate a lot of money to the foundation. And not a bad idea to just go out there and shake hands, tell them thanks for being a part of that. And obviously, you guys know the Education Foundation does put a lot of money back into the school. It's just for our kids. So
Yeah.
even if you don't play, it's worthwhile to go out there and just kind of hang out a little bit.
So, Ms. Strasbeck and I last year, to that end, stood at one place and let every single team just come through us. And it worked perfectly.
Teed off for you guys? Or you stood up?
Well, no, they had to walk through. And most of them wanted a photo with us because they wanted it for their website to show that they had been out there to support. So
Would y'all let me do the Phil Mickelson flop shot over you?
No,
I've seen that. All right, anybody else have anything to add as far as the schedule goes? Does anyone have any specific agenda items that we have not addressed that you'd like to have addressed in the future board meeting?
Gary, before we continue, Jerry and the rock and roll, again, what's that date? April 1? April 1st. Yeah, that's what I said. It's a Saturday night. We actually have a vendor that has offered to sponsor a seat or two there. In other words, you wouldn't have to buy the ticket. I think they bought a table, basically. So just let us know if you're interested in that. It's kind of a fun deal, and but we have a vendor that bought a table. So we'll probably email that out to you tomorrow.
Yeah, speaking of that, I almost forgot. I don't know if it went out to everybody, but it's kind of, I shouldn't say it's a strange situation. But anyways, I believe Amazon's got an event tomorrow. Amazon.com across the street there has an event tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Clemens.
Yes.
And they're donating about
some materials for our STEM program, fashion materials.
Yeah, a gentleman called me a few weeks back, it's kind of a spur of the moment thing, but they're gonna come out tomorrow at 10 o'clock, do a thing at Clemens, where they're donating either money or items or whatnot to the STEM program, just wanna get a little publicity, and so if you have, time in your schedule, if you wanna go to Clemens tomorrow about 10 o'clock, just to tell them thanks, that'd be great. I do have a question about Cicelo City Council. I mean, obviously the toll road over there, the proposed toll road is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. And do we have any interest in that or any kind of reason to monitor what's going on? Or?
Mr. Devitt served on the Blue Ribbon Committee and kept us surprised up until that point. And, but it's up to the board.
Yeah, the only thing that I was interested, the only thing that I was, not only thing, but the major thing I was interested in was how close it was going to be to Still High School. I knew it was coming off at 1103 there, off there at Wagon Wheel, and being very close to Still High School, that was my question or concern, and it was they said that the nearest point would be 600 feet away, and so 200 yards basically, 2 football fields, whatever, and so I know been on a lot of toll roads, and I know that's to me was an adequate distance, especially being on that end. We know we're not going to be putting any other facilities out on that end, so.
I guess in light of that, does anyone have a need to have somebody from Cibolo come over and just kind of give us an update on what's going on?
Yeah,
that's courtesy to us as a governmental entity.
Yeah, where's it going to be by the property thing?
Let's have them come.
Okay.
Do the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
You want to give that?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be ASAP. This would be a changing project, obviously.
They do have a map though, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the roads may be over.
Friday.
Well, if you want to do that, we can get that.
Just get a copy of the map.
They have a map
Honestly, that may be something more
the
questions.
proposed route it's a proposed route right now because they're still talking with property owners.
Right. I mean, that affects taxes, I guess, to some extent, property roadways. I mean, I don't know, just development or whatever. I mean, I'd be more inclined to think to have somebody come over.
Yeah, well, no, we're good with that. We'll ask them to do that.
Mr. Griff?
I'd like to ask again that for the next agenda, I thought it was on this one, it wasn't the discussion of the possibility of reducing the cameras in the school systems be added in.
Okay. Yeah, help me remember why you thought that was going to be on the agenda.
Because you asked me, would you like to add it to the March agenda? And I responded, yes, I'd like to add it to the March agenda.
Okay. And then we had about 5 or 6 or 10 conversations after that, so we still want it on the agenda.
Not that I recall.
Not now.
Do what?
I'll say it again.
I'm asking you what you said. I didn't understand what you said, the last thing you said.
The last one, going through this, is I would recommend that we add it to the March agenda.
Okay, I remember that. I remember us having several conversations after that where I thought that was different than that last text.
I don't remember those conversations.
Okay,
So
so
the last one I had.
then can you clarify what you would like to see so that we all know?
You want me to put it in an email format, or you want me to?
It's fine. The protocol, I think, would send it to the board president.
Okay.
I mean, simply, just what I do right now.
That's the protocol, that's not what we use. Last time I motioned on that. All right.
You can verbalize it now, too, that's fine.
Okay, so we're changing the vote. Is there a way I can get an update on the camera systems? I received a message saying that they're decreasing the numbers of cameras in the schools, especially in possible high traffic areas. So I would like to see the status of the camera systems, any reduction, and how it, I know you mentioned that it may affect the ETP, expenditure, project, projection plans, so I guess that would have to be part of it too.
The district-wide, I assume?
Correct.
Okay, let me just ask you for the record. An item like that, I guess I'd call that a security concern. Is that something we do in closed session? Having a discussion of where our cameras are and how many we're going to have, I mean, that seems to be a security.
Check to see if it is.
I think we're allowed to have that in closed session if it's anything having to do with security and safety.
Depends on how in-depth you get into the topic.
Yeah, is that okay, John?
Yeah, absolutely.
What about April the 4th? If we're going to have a pretty in-depth conversation, do we want to do it on that? On the workshop?
Those will be that, yeah, okay.
Well, whatever works for you guys.
Well, I guess that's what I don't know.
we'll go in depth then.
So why don't we do this? So we have the rest of the trustees have the general gist of what the topic is. We can have it either the April 4th or the April regular board meeting, whichever suits administration, just the amount of time that you need to put this together. If you need more time, then I'm sure maybe it'll be okay if you need more time. And we'll leave it up to you and Mr. Crew to get together to just talk about, here's what he would like to see specifically, and you guys can work out how simple or complicated it has to be. Okay, so is that okay? That's good. Okay, all right. Any other questions, agenda items? We good? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and adjourn at 8:43 p.m. Thanks.